we're back in our Dayton showroom where we're going to do session 2 of All Things Turning.
So we've got some tool holders kind of laid out on the table. So let's take a minute to talk about, some tooling, different types of tooling on the turret, different types of turrets, and for example, what's the difference between a standard turret and a half index turret?
Okay, good point. So let's talk about maybe the possibilities of different turrets, especially when it comes to live tooling, okay? So there's a couple different types where, I don't know if you can see in the background, where this style of turret is what they call a radial mount, where the tools mount right here on the circumference of the turret. Then they also have face mount, style of turrets where the tools mount directly to the face of the turret.
So that would be a face mount would be kind of like a VDI style tool holder that we're looking at here.
Typically, you do see the face mount turrets have a VDI style of connection, versus a base mount style.
Right. So that gives us the terms like BMT versus VDI, right?
Yeah, BMT is your base mount tooling, which is, I would say, more common. They're typically usually keyed in 4 different spots. They're actually bolted, through socket head cap screws directly to the turret. And since they're keyed, you typically don't have to indicate any of them in.
Right.
Where versus, a VDI, yes, it's quicker to change. You have a post with a serration wedge style that pulls against with a locking pin. But most of the live tools, they actually have a little micrometer on the back where you actually have to indicate those in.
Right.
So these are definitely quicker to change, but way less rigid.
Gotcha.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I'd agree. And the VDI is kind of the older way of doing live tooling on machines, where most manufacturers now are doing the base mount BMT style. Now there's different sizes of these BMT 55, 65s, and on up.
What does that mean?
So BMT 55 means this diameter right here is 55 millimeters. So the center locating hole in the turret. And then as you get up through bigger machines, you get a 65 millimeter, 75. You get up to a 24-inch chuck machine, you got a BMT 85.
Yeah, those are big.
Which are really big live tool holders.
Yeah, good point. Let's talk about half index turret. What is it?
Yeah, so generally on a lathe, you've got a 12-position turret, right? So on a live tool machine, that means I have 12 positions, and I have 12 positions that are capable of being live. So I can put 12 of these on there if I want. Now at that same time, they have what's called a half index station. Half index gives me a position in between that live station. And what I can do is actually put a holder on there like this. You can kind of see it's got this extra angle right here. So this would be a tool for my standard station, and this one is halfway in between the next station, hence the term half index. So when I have just a standard 3-axis machine with live tooling, and I'm trying to do some more milling, more turning, it just allows me to get more turning tools on the turret.
Less stations.
And less stations.
And allows for more milling tools.
Right.
And milling stations.
Right. So it's definitely a benefit on a 3-axis machine, because I'm using more live tools for my standard positions, where now I can go in and throw in some extra turning, grooving, threading, tools on my half index.
I keep hearing you say it's more useful on a 3-axis machine. Why isn't it less useful on a machine like this with Y-axis?
Yeah, so on a Y-axis machine like this one, this is still half index like our 3-axis machines, but I don't want to say it's less useful, but since this machine has Y-axis on it, I can use a holder like this that holds 4 turning tools on one station. Now those tools are off center, so I can actually lift up and down with Y-axis to move them on center.
Gotcha.
So something like this isn't quite as appealing to me, because I still only have a turning tool on one side of the turret, and then a half index. Where something like this on a y-axis machine, basically I've got my 80-degree rougher and 35-degree finisher for the main and sub spindles all on one station.
One station. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I still can use these for other stuff if I want, but generally we try to steer towards that type of holder on a y-axis machine because I now have y-axis to move up and down. I can utilize that.
That makes total sense. Well, that was good. I liked all the points we hit, and just make sure to join us next month when we move on to our next topic.